I was born in Portugal.
My
blood is German, but my roots actually are Portuguese. I got hooked so quickly. I just tried it and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And I just put everything into it. I was on the beach every day because it wasn't just me winning something. It was like, we made it. Like, Portugal has so much potential in the sport. Bodyboarding got into mainstream like it never had before. The opportunity came to go into schools to speak about my career and the ocean.
Where do you keep your Order of Merit?
Next to the bar. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Sagres. And then I look back and I'm like, yeah, I think I did the right thing with my life.
So welcome to Talk About Tomorrow. And today we are in the News TV studio in Praia de Luz on a very rare rainy day in the Algarve. It really is bucketing it down outside. Yeah. But fortunately, I am with someone who doesn't mind getting wet because she is a world champion bodyboarder. And today I'm really excited to be talking to Joana Schenker. Welcome, Joana.
Thank you so much.
We need the rain in the Algarve, right?
So much.
Okay. Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, we can take a few days of rain.
Yeah.
And get a nice green grass around.
Exactly. Yeah. It's good. It's good for the environment. We really need it. So today we've got here in the rain, and I last spoke to you. We were saying it's 2 years ago now. I interviewed you for the magazine, and I thought your career couldn't go any further. But you've actually just been awarded the Portugal Forbes 40 most influential sporting women. Wow, that's really, really good, isn't it?
It is. It was a total surprise for me. Like, I was like, oh, I'm on the Forbes list.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You know, when you think like, yeah, things have been really going well and that's kind of it. Something else pops up. I don't know. I'm really honored to be in that.
So did they interview you, or is it just literally a sort of list, or have you had to go to any awards ceremony?
They did interviews on all the candidates on the list, and well, they put the list together, and I just knew about it when the list was already about to be printed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had an interview and it's on the website as well, and yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That's another string to your bow, which is fantastic. So for those that don't know about you, you are obviously German originally by your name, but you have grown up in Portugal since a young age, right? What age did you move here?
I was born in Portugal.
Oh, you're actually born here?
Yeah, I was born in the hospital in Faro, many years ago. And yeah, lived all my life here, did all my school here. I feel like I'm from here and my blood is German, but my roots actually are Portuguese because, I mean, I've been here all my life.
Sure. And you grew up in Portugal, which we all now know as the sort of touristic village, but you lived there before it was
way before. There was no phone. There's still no phone reception, I think. There was nothing. There was like a handful of old people living in the village. They all died now. It's true. Like, it was 37 years ago. So there was nothing there, actually. And it's crazy to see how it developed, to be honest, because it was this kind of forgotten place from the world. It was a great place to grow up, though, because there was like total freedom. Also a bit restricted in terms of, you know, being able to there was no public transport. There still isn't any public transport. But it was also just nature and run around wild.
And would you describe your parents then as quite sort of alternative to have moved somewhere like that?
Yeah, I feel like when I was like a teenager, I kind of was like, I want to be in the city. I want to be with more people or with other kids. But now I look back and it was really healthy.
Yeah,
it was before social media, before all of that. We just had like, this place we could just be free and don't care about anything.
Yeah, and do you think obviously that's sort of what drove you to the beach to discover surfing?
Yes, also.
There can't have been a lot of other activities maybe on offer.
Exactly, because I mean, back in those days, there was nothing to do. There were no extracurricular things happening in this area. And the beach was there, and it was pretty popular already with the locals. Like, bodyboarding has a long history in Sagres. And it was kind of automatic. All the cool kids were bodyboarding, and I kind of wanted to be cool too. So,
and explain why, because I hadn't realised this until I spoke to you last time, that Sagres actually has the ideal conditions for bodyboarders, right? Why is that?
It's because of the way the coastline is built. We have like all these different coastlines, So we have waves all year round. Our beaches are quite small, so the waves will hit the rocks and form these really amazing waves for bodyboarding. It's an ideal place. We get so much swell. There's never a day where there's no waves. Basically, it's very rare, like to have no waves. You have waves for beginners. You have waves for very advanced people. You have big waves, small waves, all these different kind of waves. It's a perfect playground, perfect training ground. Yeah, I mean, it's the ideal thing to do when you grow up in Sagres, is to bodyboard.
Yeah, and tell me, so I think you said you caught your first wave, maybe you were 13, that sort of age. So how did you go from that till I think by the age of 17, you were in the national team, right?
The thing is, I got hooked so quickly. I just tried it and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And nothing had captured me like that before. So I was just like, I love it. I want to do it all day long.
Yeah.
And I just put everything into it. I was on the beach every day, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you still maintained your schooling up to what age? You were at Julia Dantas, right?
Yeah, I was in Julia Dantas. I finished the 12th grade, and then instead of going to uni, I went full on bodyboarding, like putting all my energy and time and money also into that. But even before that, I would skip classes sometimes to go bodyboarding quite a lot. My mom would like write a paper to excuse me. But I didn't have any problems in school. I was a good student, so I could afford to skip classes here and there. And yeah, I spent pretty much all my days in the water.
And so how did you get then into entering competitions? Did you get a coach or?
So I had like my little girl squad. They were also bodyboarding. We had a lot of girls bodyboarding when I started, and it also helped. I mean, I think because it's quite a male sport still. Mm-hmm. And if you have like these other girls there, especially when you're younger, it's nice to have your girlfriends doing the same thing. So we had this kind of little girl squad. We would surf together every day. And then there was also like a little team that would take the young kids to junior comps. So I started to go with them. And then later on, my boyfriend was also a bodyboarder, and he kind of took off the role of trainer as well. So everything was around it. Like my whole mindset was consumed by this sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you started to compete in the junior division, and you made it into your first ETB European event final that year. Was that correct?
Correct.
2002. And then by 2004, you were the Portuguese junior champion.
Yes.
Portuguese Open vice champion and ECF European junior champion. So there must have been a bit of a buzz around you by that stage, was there?
That's when it kind of started, because I was fairly new to the whole thing, like 2 or 3 years into the sport is not a long time. And I felt like people are probably getting that I'm there to stay. Like, I really want this. I was sometimes winning even with much older, much more experienced competitors with me. So yeah, I feel like that was kind of the time when I started to put my foot into the sport. Like, yeah, I want to.
And what do you think is the secret of your success in terms of, is it because you seem very softly spoken and sweet, but you must be really fierce behind that all, right?
That was my biggest struggle, and still today I think it is, like, to be competitive to the point where you need to be, because everyone's competitive. You're a competitor, so you need to be that. And I had a hard time doing that. I think I lost a lot of comps, not competing or not being aggressive enough, or sometimes sometimes we need to be a bit sneaky as well, and I had a hard time doing that in the water. So I'll just try to surf the best I could. So whenever I get the waves, I would probably do well, and if I don't get the waves, I would probably lose. And then there came a point, like, I dedicated so much into it that I felt like, no, I need to compete with everyone else. Like, I'm going to be more present,
Yeah.
And that kind of changed the whole way as well.
So explain to me, for those people that wouldn't know, how bodyboarding surf competition works. Like, how do you win it? How do you get judged?
It's pretty similar even to, like, let's say a football competition where you have elimination rounds. So usually you start back, everyone starts back, and then you have always 4 people in the water during 20 minutes. You can get 10 waves, but only your 2 best will be scored. So the 2 athletes who have the 2 best waves in that 20 minutes will advance, and the other one will be eliminated, and so on until we get to the final, and then one will win and one will lose. So you keep eliminating people you have to serve several times until you get to the final, and then you will have to win that final heat as well. So
but how do you like get judged? How do you surf that best wave? What is it that
you have a judging panel with usually 5 judges sitting and watching all your waves and giving scores from 1 or from 0 to 10. 10 would be the best wave ever, and 0 would be really bad. So you in between, they will give you scores for each wave, and then they have they take off the 2 lowest scores and the highest, and they make like a media, and then you will have your score. Yeah. So it's quite objective, but there's always a bit of subjectiveness into it as well, because humans are watching humans, right? So but they will judge you on wave size, on the maneuvers you did on the wave, how good they were the correct moves for that wave or that wave section. So there's a lot of stuff going into it. It's not just like going on the wave and
And do you have a particular maneuver that you're well known for, that you're particularly good at?
I think I'm more known for being really good to the right, because it's my favorite way to go.
Right.
And I do like perfect clean waves. So when the waves are bad, I have more of a struggle.
Yeah, sure.
Because I also like to wait, because in this 20 minutes you have to try to get the best wave for yourself. And there is a priority system. So whoever got the last wave will have to wait. And, so everyone has a chance to get the wave.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to know when you want to wait and when you want to take the wave and when you don't want to take the wave. So you have to be really in tune with the ocean.
Sure.
It's a lot. It's so much more than just catching the wave and doing stuff on it. It's all like this whole moment. You need to read all the signs. Should I wait? Shouldn't I wait? You have to make the right decision. It's complex.
So it's a very sort of mixed, depending on the wave, your performance, a bit of luck, I'm sure.
A bit of luck, for sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
So in 2017, you had the perfect luck, right? You were already national and European champion, and then you had the final, the world's bodyboard final on Nazaré.
Yes.
So kind of your home turf, right? And you finished first, you were world champion. And that really elevated you to quite a high profile in Portugal, right? Can you explain the feeling of when you won that?
Well, it was very strange, because I was running for the world title, of course, but I didn't understand how much was at stake there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do well and try to win it. That was the whole thing. And I didn't even understand that Portugal had never won one before. So I was kind of unaware of everything that could happen if I win, which is probably good, because I was just focused on doing what I had to do. And when I won it, it's hard to explain. It was like something I really wanted to do in my career. It was like this one thing you want to do, be world champion, of course. But then I realized the whole beach was there for me as well. Like, it was like this whole party with everyone bodyboarding in Portugal, and so much support. And it was it was good for me, but it was also good for everyone else. It was like this shared experience.
Yeah, I still remember it.
I didn't realize that was going to happen. It was so special because of that, because it wasn't just me winning something. It was like, we made it. Like, Portugal has so much potential in the sport, and then all of a sudden we achieved something we all wanted to. And I was lucky enough to make it happen,
And it also put bodyboarding on the map, right? Because there's so much hype in the last 10 or so years in surf tourism centered around stand-up surfing, right? So it really put bodyboarding and kind of, it's cool, as well as stand-up surfing.
And it's so weird, because we have been here all along, and all these talented athletes have been here for years, but no one would care about them. So we needed to do something kind of like big to to push to ourselves.
Sure.
And I feel like it shifted a bit. Like, bodyboarding got into mainstream like it never had before.
Yeah.
And that was a big win for everyone, I guess.
And you were on GQ on their front cover. And that kind of started also a sort of modeling career, right, for you as well, and enabled you, or gave you a voice to be able to pursue some of your other passions. So tell me a bit about sort of what other passions and things you've been able to achieve as a result of that.
Yeah, so it's all about opening doors, right? Like, the doors start opening because I all of a sudden were in places I had never been before, or my sport had never been before. So all of a sudden, yeah, GQ asked me to be on the cover of the magazine. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Which was an interesting experience. And then a lot of other magazines followed, and a very interesting project that came with that whole hype was my school tour, because I live in the ocean basically, so the ocean's my home, and I've always been quite open about how we should protect it. I think when you care for something, you want to protect it. And then the opportunity came to go into schools to speak about my career and the ocean basically. So I went into a lot of schools. It has been 15,000 students so far with that school project. And it all came from the world title in a way, because all of a sudden people would take me seriously and say like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because you're the ambassador, aren't you, for Lisbon Ocean?
I was, not anymore, but
okay.
yeah.
That's what led on to you going into schools. And you actually went into my daughter's school. She loved it. And then they all had to do a project.
They did, right?
About inspirational women after that.
I know. So. I was there. I listened to that. I was there. It was so, all of these things that I didn't expect to happen. I didn't even plan for them to happen. They just came from doing what I wanted to do, which is spend time in the water and bodyboard as well as I could.
And also you promote ocean-friendly beauty products.
Yeah.
Is that right? Which brands are they?
It's Aven. It's the whole skincare. I mean, sunblocks, but also skincare. And the sunblocks are all marine life friendly. I try to, if you believe in something, if you preach for it, you should also live by it. I think that's the best way to be an example. So the big part of companies I work with, we all have that kind of mindset in common.
Because I know a lot of surfers who've said that some days you can literally see a film of sun cream.
It's unbelievable, like how much actually goes into the water. Yeah. You would never think it, but it's so many people wearing sunblock, and it's important to wear sunblock if you're on the beach all day. So you need to find that balance between protecting yourself, but also not doing harm to the environment. And yeah, it's easy as looking at the label when you buy.
Yeah, it's really important. People should maybe think about that before they go into the ocean. And then the thing I found out about you that I love the most was that you had a Barbie doll, the Barbie Awards, which apparently is an international project by Mattel that distinguishes women who inspire children. So that must be surely your greatest achievement.
I have it at home, the Barbie with my bodyboard. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of any girl's dream, isn't it? To get your Barbie. Yeah, you see all of these things that just happen from, I don't know exactly, how they happen, because I never planned for those to happen. Just like the Forbes list, things just pop up, and then I look back and I'm like, I think I did the right thing with my life. Whenever you are not sure if you did the right decision.
Because you also were awarded the Portuguese Order of Merit by the President of Portugal, so that's also pretty cool, right?
It's also pretty cool.
What was he nice? He always seems like a lovely man.
No, he's a lovely man. Yeah, he is.
And he swims in the ocean, right?
I saw him swimming on a day like this. It was raining, it was stormy in near Tavira. He was there. And I was just like there for a school tour, and he was just on the beach swimming with a beanie on.
Yeah. Oh, so that must have been an amazing thing. And where do you keep your Order of Merit?
Next to the Barbie.
Next to the Barbie. Have a shelf with all these things.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting as well, because I think there's so much negativity about social media. But actually, you find it a really powerful tool for women sports people to promote themselves.
Exactly.
Right?
Social media is whatever you make of it. It could be good or bad, like for whatever purpose you use it. I think, of course, it has a lot of negative sides of it, but it also has equally good sides to it, because it democratized the whole sporting industry. Even for any sport that isn't that famous, let's say bodyboarding, now you can be your own manager. You can do almost your own media. You can show whatever you did or do, or you can show up people, and if they want to see it, they will follow you. So you don't rely on magazines or other people promoting you. You can do it yourself. I think it's, especially for women, it was a big step. Now they can take their own career in their hands and do whatever they want with it, and also have a voice. I mean, you can say whatever you want on your social media, right?
I agree.
It's in that regard, I think it's really healthy and positive to be able to do that. Before it was all about, do the editor of that magazine likes you and want to publish you or not? Like, you know, you're in someone else's hands. Now you can do it yourself.
Exactly. And I think because I follow your Instagram, and some of my favorite pictures of you are on the beach after you've trained, enjoying a bottle of Sagres beer. I was like to see that you like the odd bottle of Sagres when you get out the ocean.
Obviously, I'm a big fan of Sagres, not only because I'm from Sagres, but because I have a really interesting story with that brand. They were my first big sponsor before the world title. So they were the brand that really invested before I won the world title. You know, winning, like, brands investing after is great, and it's easy for them because they're betting on a winning horse, you know. But the ones before, they're really important because without them you wouldn't go. I wouldn't be able to do the world tour without that support. And the brand supported me before that, and 2 years later we won the world title together in a way.
All thanks to beer. I mean, that's
all thanks to Sagres, you know. And so I really love the people behind that company.
And apart from Sagres, drinking Sagres beer, how do you keep yourself healthy?
I mean, I don't drink Sagres to keep myself healthy.
I was joking.
But it doesn't harm you if you have a Sagres. And you also have a non-alcoholic one. Well, I try to be as much in the ocean as I can. Now that I'm getting older, I really started to do Pilates on a regular basis, just over here in Almadna with Miguel Silva. So he's kind of my trainer in that division. He's really, really good. So I had a lot of injuries on my back, on my neck, and we're trying to fix them and have been working fairly well. So I would say Pilates has been a big part of keeping healthy. You have like a healthy mindset. You eat whatever you want, but don't go crazy on anything. You know, it's just about balance.
And so you eat lots of local produce, I guess?
I do, and I'm vegetarian for 27 years now. So I haven't eaten fish or meat in a very long time.
That's difficult, not eating fish when you come from Sagres.
I know, but I love the fish. So I could
exactly. They're like your friends.
But exactly. But there's so much. I mean, you have really good local produce around. You can just go to the farmer's market and buy something much healthier. And when I travel, I try to not eat the worst food, you know.
It must be difficult when you travel.
Sometimes I need to go and eat the plastic food as well.
Exactly.
But it's about balance. I don't go like, oh my God, I've eaten this or that. No, I enjoy the food, right?
And you actually live in Sagres, right?
I live in Sagres.
And how has Sagres changed? I mean, since you were a kid?
A lot. I mean, Sagres is still that, you know, end of the world kind of town that people love, and has a very specific vibe to it, but it just got so much more popular all year round. I think surfing put it really on the map. Like, it's packed with people, which is good and bad. I mean, there's sides to it, right? It is different, but I still think if you go, you still have that kind of end of the world town feeling to it.
I agree.
It is rough in a beautiful way, like, you know.
It feels like a bit like an outback town.
It is. It is. It has lots of character.
But I mean, the coastline there is just so stunning, and the best way to enjoy it is to be in the ocean. So if you, as I was the last time I spoke to you, I was inspired to bodyboard again, which I hadn't done since I was a child, and I've taught my daughter. It's been great. So what should people do if they want to try bodyboarding?
Well, they should, if you can find a friend, you know, or somebody to go with you, I would recommend to be more than one. Like, find a buddy. It helps in the beginning. If you can find a school, even better. But even in the beginning, you don't need a school. You just need to feel like you want to go into the ocean and be a little bit uncomfortable. Get a pair of fins, get a good wetsuit and a board. You don't need any expensive stuff, just like basic, it's fine. And have fun, and don't give up. Like, if you get beaten by a wave, just get up and, you know, I always say it's just water. Obviously be safe. Like, be aware when you arrive to the beach. Look if there's anyone else there. If you see other surfers, just stay around them, you know. Beware of rocks, of currents.
Which beach would you say is best for beginners?
Well, it's hard to say because it changes a lot. Like it could be flat here today and tomorrow, and today is waves. Usually it's flat, right? So every day you want to go, you have to arrive at the beach and watch the waves before you get into the water. That's like first you go, watch, and then you decide. But the south coast, like Praia da Luz, Bulgao, Mareta, all of these beaches usually have smaller waves. Unless we have the south swell, then you have a lot of current. You don't want to go in there.
Yeah.
So the best, if you have no idea of what you're looking at in terms of waves, just guide yourself with other surfers and watch them and watch how far out they are, if they're more to the shore, like this.
Yeah.
And go slowly. Then you will eventually we will learn to watch it as well. Like you will learn how to read the ocean and get more confident.
Yeah.
Just don't go like onto a beach where it's big waves and there's no one there. And just go like, I'm going to go. No, I will avoid that,
So what does the future hold now? So you were saying next week you're off on the world circuit again. So tell me what that entails.
It's basically my whole objective from the year is doing that tour and doing as well as I can. I've been in the top 8 ever since I started. So my full-on goal is not to drop out of the top 8, but I wanted to obviously be in the higher ranks. Obviously, every year gets harder. There's a lot of new competition there. Everyone wants to win, so it's always full on.
So you're starting in Morocco.
Then there is another one in Chile, and then we have Brazil for now, and another one in Portugal as well. So it's 4 on the tour. And then we have national and European tours, which I haven't yet gotten the calendars. I'm still waiting for those to drop.
Does it feel like living the dream? It sounds very glamorous.
It's not glamorous. No. Not glamorous. It's really fun, and you're always out, like away, and to travel a lot. You have all these friends overseas, and it's very interesting. I wouldn't say it's glamorous because it's hard work, and usually we don't go to fancy hotels or anything. We keep it cheap, because it's a lot of traveling all year round. But it's a lot of fun.
But it must be great that your coach is also your partner, right?
Yes.
And so you travel together.
Mostly, yes. Not all the events. Sometimes he doesn't go, but we try to go together.
Francisco?
Yeah.
And is that his main job, your coach? Or?
It is. Like we've been doing this for a very, very long time together, and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like the rock there. I'm a bit. Whenever I get lost, he like pulls me back into reality.
Yeah.
And he's a great bodyboarder himself, so he kind of knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And he's probably more passionate about sport than I am.
And do you foresee a time when you'll have to stop, or you'll just keep going for as long as you can? Or
well, you're always like, should I stop? Should I keep going? It's a hard question to answer. I don't want to give up this lifestyle. I love it. I think bottom line comes down to, is your body able to still do it? Like as long as you feel as long as I feel healthy and well enough to be competing on that level, I will do it. Or I don't see why I should quit. And
So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
37.
Oh wow, you don't look it. She doesn't look it.
37. So it's been a long time doing it.
So you started when you're 13 and you're still going. It's amazing, and great to know that you are keeping yourself fit through the Pilates as well.
It helps a lot. Like if I can recommend one thing to do to anyone, Pilates is the thing. I've tried a lot of stuff before, and I never had this kind of benefit that I feel now.
Well, Joana, thank you so much. It's just been, I love talking to you, and I love following you on your social media as well. Thank you for joining us on Talk About Tomorrow. And if everyone enjoyed that conversation, please could you press like on the podcast, subscribe to the channel, and like I did, make sure you have another go at bodyboarding, because it is so much fun.
It's so much fun. I guarantee.
Okay, thank you, Joana.